Good morning. Happy hump day. Hello, Rachel, Ash, Julie. Small crowd this morning. Everyone sleeping in? Hello. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are y'all doing today? Hopefully everyone's doing well. Morning, Garpu. Guys, 5 interviews in one day is exhausting, just in case anyone was wondering. Good morning, Maureen. Just got back from your girls' trip to Florida? Heck yeah. Hopefully it went well. Minnesota mom gave a $10 tip yesterday, and I missed it. My goodness. I didn't even see that. I got 4 today and 4 tomorrow. Good morning, Clara. Good morning, Jeremiah. How's everybody doing today? How was everyone's evening yesterday? Hopefully it went well. Good morning, Angel. Uh-oh. Seems the video I posted today did not make the TikTok gods happy. Not going anywhere. Well, that's fun. Good, chill, heck yeah. Saw the news that our president is threatening Iran and Venezuela again, which is great. Isn't that nice? You know, who could ask for anything more? Got a 10-minute timeout in Lewis's live last night, like 5 minutes after we started. Oh, good. Great. I wish I were surprised. I wish I were surprised. I feel like his live gets targeted really bad, and I don't know if it's because of the time of day he does it, because he doesn't say anything that different than what I do. Oh, great. The video I just posted a few minutes ago has 1 view. I think TikTok is still broken. Good morning, Laura. This language can get colorful at times, but I've heard much worse. Yeah, I mean, on Saturday when I went live after the whole thing that happened with Alex happened, I was much more colorful, and I was getting reported. So for bullying. Sounds deliberately broken at this point. I don't think so. I think they're just incompetent. I think they're just incompetent, and they screwed up a lot. And yeah, that's my guess. Could be wrong. Hey, Summer, how are you? But yeah, seeing that Trump is threatening Iran with war, basically. And I saw a video or a report saying that Marco Rubio is basically threatening Venezuela with being attacked if they don't basically follow their orders. So yeah, I know, American exceptionalism at its best, right? Right? Coffee isn't working. Send help and caffeine. It's fair. No argument from me. This fighting a two-pronged war works out so well. Right. Yeah, it's always worked really well. It is all hard. Most of us have known caring nurses. Many of us are nurses. Yep. Haven't had coffee yet. No, Aaron, get your coffee. Get the IV stat. People need coffee IVs. What's up, Philip? You're tired? Dude, I feel you. I did my live yesterday, and then I had 5 interviews as well as making dinner and editing videos to try and get them off the thing that I use to edit them, so I can so I don't overfill it. So I've been just going like crazy nonstop. You're fasting for labs today? Oof. You watch any of Trump's speech in Iowa? I didn't watch it, but I watched some I watched a overview of it where he said, I forget what he's basically called some either another country or something like that, China. He's losing his mind. He's losing his mind. Hey, Silver. Hey, Kia. Cold weather has thrown off my dog schedule, so now my first coffee comes after feeding them. Gotcha. Oh, I need to change that. That's wrong. Yep, I saw that too, Philip. Yep. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, that. And what's great is he came up and did that, and Representative Omar just like walked up to him and he's like, "Get your punk ass down." Like she was like, I'm not backing down from you." I was like, "Yes, girl." She probably would have if her security didn't tackle him. Yeah, that was pretty badass. That was pretty badass. I mean, I already had mad respect for her, but good morning, Missy. I don't think continuing the event to get checked out was the smartest thing, though. Who knows what was in it? Could have put everyone in the room in harm's way. If that were true, they were already put in harm's way at the beginning. But I mean, you could be right. You could be right. But I also kind of agree with her. Didn't a Dem candidate also get punched at an event? I can't remember who, though. I don't remember hearing that. You might be right, but I don't remember hearing that. Oh, that's right. Maxwell Frost. Yes. Maxwell Frost. Someone attacked Maxwell Frost at an event too. Yes. Yep. Good morning, Susie. The fact that they're trying to make something out of her net worth because her and her husband own a winery. And it's not even her and her husband. My understanding is it's her husband. I don't know if they've got separate accounts or how that works, but I remember they've been talking about her and her husband for years now. I had to teach my wife how to disassemble and load our new gun. I know it's important to know those fundamentals of weapon safety, but it's becoming more real here. I feel you. I just can't keep the crate. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, no argument, Kia. I mean, guys, hypocrisy is how those guys live, so hypocrisy is how those guys live. Their entire being is based on hypocrisy at this point. Like 1,000,000% based on hypocrisy at this point. If they aren't being hypocritical, they aren't living. I never actually thought they would allow their 2A rights to be questioned, though. But see, they're not. Here's the thing, and we need to remember this. This isn't new stuff for these kind of people. They have always, if you look throughout history, they have always looked at 2A rights for only them. They've always looked at 2A rights for only them. That's not new. I hate to say it, but it's not new. In general, the BIPOC community has never really had 2A rights in their mind, especially Black people. And again, we're talking in their mind, but according to them, the left aren't gun owners. Of course not. Again, hypocrisy is their bread and butter. More and more Trumpers are coming forward only after the second killing in Minneapolis to say they'll get their vote. I'm so done. No. No. Not the NRA, Scott. Just people that think like MAGA in general. No, the NRA is pretty consistent. I'll give them that. Like Garpu said, look at how the Black Panthers were treated. Has there been any information about the shooting in Arizona with Border Patrol? I have not seen any new information. At least not. I was going to say that I know they definitely don't want people of color to have the same rights. They murdered a white man carrying a gun. That is profound because that does target them directly. Well, they consider the MAGA, especially, not all MAGA, obviously, but too much of MAGA consider people on the left to be a group of that same ilk. Started watching all the interviews today. Thank you, Susie. I appreciate that. Here's what I'm noticing about the thing that happened in Arizona. I'm not seeing much on it. I saw a lot on TikTok, but I'm not finding much in the news about it. You're back, coffee? Okay. You really liked Kevin? Yeah, he's a cool dude. He is a cool dude. I look forward to seeing what he does. Oh wait, here we go. Let's see. The last info that I see about what happened in Arizona is 17 hours old, which is wild that's. I did see the video with kids screaming in protest at the ICE facility in in Texas. Yes. Yes. There is like a massive CBP thing going on in Arizona, and one person's in critical condition. I'm seeing one report saying that the suspect in the incident is an alleged human trafficker, but don't trust anything these people say anymore, which is bad. He has a tough road ahead. He's at 2% in the polls, but a lot still undecided. Hopefully he catches on. Yep. Well, and that's why we need his videos and stuff to go out. If they reported the sky was blue, I'd have to open the window and check. Yes, unfortunately. Oh yeah, they also tried to enter an embassy in Minnesota. What the hell? Ecuadorian embassy? Or Ecuadorian consulate, I think is officially what it's called. Also, why did he take ice with him to Italy? Why is ice going to the Winter Olympics? Because they're idiots. Because this administration is incompetent. I will say it again. By the way, hi Rosa and hi Stu. I didn't say hi. The mayor said they're not welcome there. Yep. What happens if they block them from going in? Nothing happens. They're the equivalent of tourists. They don't have the same kind of rights. Yes, Stu, it was confirmed. Yes, he is going back to his original post in California, and I think is expected to retire. Yep. Yeah. Ilhan Omar. Yep. Yeah, it's all wild. All freaking wild. This world we live in right now. Well, I mean, he can't fully escape accountability. Retiring doesn't escape him from accountability. Marco's getting ready to testify about Venezuela. Oh boy. Ain't watching that. Just gonna piss me off. I got 3 or 4 more people who should be scheduling soon. Heck yeah. I just posted a video today that kind of advertises what I'm doing. So when you go over on when you watch if you're on TikTok, if you watch your TikToks today, please help push that out to people. Watch it all, like it, repost it, all that stuff. I might be able to get David Boomer. Who's that? I've read so many names in the last few weeks. I'm not even sure I recognize big names anymore. I've seen so many of them. Morning, Linda. Entire administration will eventually face charges. The billions in wealth they are stealing from the taxpayers will keep them out of any serious trouble, though. It depends. It depends who we put in office. Depends who we put in office. Okay. Okay. I haven't seen his response about Off Joagan. I saw him in a video with Off Joagan recently. I'm pretty sure it was before the whole thing happened, but they will book it to a country that won't extradite. We'll see. We'll see. You may be right. You may be right. I'm not going to assume the worst, though. Late today, had to get my retina ultrasounded. No worries, Linda. After watching the Tallarico Crockett debate, I don't think Crockett is going to be the front runner. It was just one debate, though. Yeah, we'll have to see. The problem that all people in Texas have is they've got what, a month basically before their primaries, which in some sense is good because then the person who wins can have a long time to try and gain support, but also it doesn't give them much time to try and get the primary support. When you are a billionaire, you can live in any country and be reasonably safe and live in luxury. I mean, yes. I just don't think it's going to be as easy. I think there's going to be a lot of massive changes after this administration. I could be wrong, but I think there's going to be some massive changes, and I don't think it's going to be as easy as that. But we'll see. I mean, in the end, we'll see. Right? Plus, the Republicans will go to a runoff in May. Dem candidate will have some time for broken field running. Yeah. I mean, if the billionaire is also a fugitive, their American account and assets would hopefully be frozen. Yep. Yeah, all those stocks that they own wouldn't be worth very much. But again, we'll see. We'll see. Get a load of this objectively correct take. I would say it's objectively and subjectively correct. Here for the points. All good, Rosa. Appreciate you. I didn't see the video, Missy, but I did hear about them trying to enter the Ecuadorian consulate. Any of them, Scott. I think they're just talking about billionaires in general. How's North Carolina today? Cold. Very, very cold. How's Europe today, trucker? Good morning, Justice. $28 in Florida? Dang. You guys must be freaking out. Have you guys seen the videos about what it's like in like some rural areas in Russia? They got like 6 feet of snow. I don't blame you, Romy. I wouldn't want him there either. Wouldn't want him there either. Falling lizards in Florida? Yeah. I'm in a mood today. Probably best if I listen instead of chat. It's understandable. Gonna be a lot of ups and downs. Guys, if you're coming in here, please tap that nose. Help push this out to more people. As well as joining the fan club or whatever it's called. Why do people not like wrong ice? But, you know. I'm pretty sure you knew that. Morning. I love accents, but I could die happy never hearing hers again. Yeah. Lupus kicking your ass today. Will be silent watcher. No worries. I'm sorry to hear that, Leah. Uh-huh. All right, Mr. Wobble. They. The infamous they, guys. It's the infamous they. Thank you, Chrissy. You're going to tell my boyfriend? Okay. Go for it. This is why I say, guys, one of the best things that has helped actually my anxiety about everything that's going on is these interviews with these people running for office. They're just such amazing people running for office right now. Yes. Yes, I am. Good morning, Minnesota Mom. Minnesota Mom, thank you, by the way, for what you did yesterday. I just saw it. Feel like in the terminal, it's essentially what happened. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm concerned it'll just be more broken promises. I mean, there's a lot of things that are dependent on whether anyone can do what they promise they want to do. Just like you can't promise you're going to do something unless you're given the ability to do it. And part of that requirement is having enough people in office to make that possible. So, yes, if only one progressive person wins and the rest are all status quo, yeah, they're not going to get anything done. They're not going to get anything done. That's why it takes all of us. It takes a concerted effort. They should just say that instead. People don't listen to that. We have shown them. We have shown all of them. And most of the progressives that are running are saying that they won't be able to do it unless they have enough people in office. Progressives have never had a majority in Congress. Arguably, the last time progressives were in Congress was when the New Deal got passed. If we're going to be honest, that was the last time, and they did a lot. Morning, Ghost. How you doing, buddy? Hey, Maggie. What's up, Shane? Just living? Feel ya. Feel ya. Oh, you miss everyone from TikTok. And we talk about TikTok being broke. Well, yeah, they're strikes me that they're screwing things up. They messed up the move. I'm a moderate, but my views are tending more progressive. However, they cause so much party division. Again, there are two different ways you have to look at it. There's how you want the country to go, and then there's your fundamentals. In the end, fundamentals is what I care about most. In the end, fundamentals is what I care about most. It's not broken, it's by design. Disagree. But could be wrong. But I disagree. I've been working in technology in some way, shape, or form my entire life, and the best systems mess up. both are all Republicans. Oh, you never know. You know, Kim, there's been a lot of apps that are supposedly up and coming. I haven't heard of one from Australia, but we'll see. They get rid of Kristi, but what other horrible person is he going to appoint? You still need to hold people accountable. If the reason to leave someone in office is because someone worse might be put in its place, then that's how we've gotten where we're at. We just don't hold people accountable for their choices. Aw, bye Ghostface, you piece of shit. He'll appoint Putin. Yeah, I saw that, Leah. Yep. And I'm name calling someone who said that the two people that lost their life got exactly what they deserve. Yes. Yes, Barbara. Yes. I call anyone that says that two people that lost their life got exactly what they deserve a name. Yes. Good morning. And goodbye, Renee guy who decided to name herself Renee Good. All right, let's get people up who are disappearing. A lot of people's accounts are getting banned all of the sudden with the new terms of service.
Yeah, Leah, that'll give the United States the firepower that both the United States and Israel would need over in the Persian Gulf. Unfortunately, we had pulled out an aircraft carrier group task force from the Persian Gulf and sent it to the Caribbean for the tremendous threat coming from fishing boats.
A violation, reposted the same vid and nothing. Yep. Yeah, it's kind of messed right now. And again, could it be all of the things that we are worried that are happening? Of course it could. 100% could. But I also know that not only is moving an entire app with the kind of complexity of that this one isn't easy. I know that there's a lot of incompetence involved. So it also wouldn't be surprised if they just broke something and now they're trying desperately to fix it. Because there are just some random little things that aren't working that have nothing to do, like, arguably, if they were trying to censor people, they would want these things to work because it would actually make it easier for the algorithm to find people. Like transcribing. The transcribing part of this app doesn't work right now. And that kind of stuff can be used, could make it easier for the algorithm to find. So, again, not saying, yeah, I understand that, but that just feels like a conspiracy theory, Cape Cod Mermaid. And again, I'm not saying you are wrong. I wouldn't even be ridiculous enough to say that any of these things that people are thinking are wrong. I just don't I just think things are broken. I think things are broken.
I agree. A lot of it's just going to be all messed up. And I saw like a breakdown of like who the ownership went to. It's like 3 different companies here that had 15% stake. It's not just one person that got all of it over here. That's another thing I've been hearing people say, well, there's just one person. And I'm like, nah, from what I saw, it's like 3 different companies got 15%.
Yeah, but they're all sort of right wing, and it looks like the CEO will end up being Ellison's group. They're going to be the ones who are actually running it day to day. But you're right. There's a bunch of different owners. It's actually even more than 3 owners. There's a bunch of hedge funds in there, but all of them are right wing.
Yeah, and again, it 100% could be what people are saying. I am not ignorant enough to even think that there's a possibility that they wouldn't consider doing stuff like that. That being said, some of the ways that it's broken don't make sense. Holy shit, what matters is they got full control of the algorithm in America. Toxic optimism. There's no optimism. You are misreading, sir or ma'am. No optimism whatsoever. I just live in reality, and I look at what's going on, and I make decisions about myself. You guys can do whatever you want. You guys can believe whatever you want. We shall see. As I have said time and time again, we shall see. That is always the case.
Well, Sue, I don't know if I would go so far as to say we're all doomed. I think the worst that could happen is we'd be kicked off this app, but I don't think that means we're doomed, unless that's what you were referring to.
I would say it like this. I would say if you feel like that, I would say the way that how we knew everything, a lot of things to be in this country, sure, it's going to have to change. Like the United States as it was is no longer the same. There's a lot of differences, and there's even more changes that we have to make coming up in the future.
Mm-hmm. And if you haven't watched the video I posted today, please do. Please share it. Please push it out. We're trying to interview as many progressives that want to change and want to fix things. And the way that we do that, especially these people that are not taking corporate money, they're not taking PAC money, they're trying to do it the right way, they want to be held accountable, all of the things that we keep calling for, but they don't, which means though that they also don't have cash flow to advertise the same way. They need people. They need visibility another way. They need name recognition another way. And the way we do that is by helping them. Can we end this 2-party system if we get enough people in office, especially state office? You want to end the 2-party system, getting enough people in state positions that are willing to enact like a ranked choice voting, that could end 2-party system 100%.
Really, trucker? Then why did we just shoot up another boat last week? Number one. And number two, Maduro may be gone, but the rest of the thugs are still in charge. We left the entire administration as is, no changes. The Army's still there, the intelligence services, the Colombian terrorist organization that's working hand in hand with the Maduro regime, the vice president, they're all still there.
Abolish ICE is a retarded statement. That not only is that statement dumb, but why would it be a retarded statement? ICE only showed up in
Please
2003.
stop saying that word. They're going to kick you so fast. The R word is a slur on here. Please don't say that word.
Okay. you mean starting with local elections and working from the ground up? I mean, yes, we always should be doing that, but states decide what their elections are like. So states decide if they're if they've got like decide for ranked choice voting and stuff. Which is why some states have ranked choice voting. Why can't independents vote in their local elections? They can. Independents can vote in every election.
Christine, I think you're mixing that up with primaries.
And some,
Is that what you mean, primaries, Christine?
and some states require you to are not open primaries, which is not in your county. You mean primaries. So again, I've been an independent my entire life. In my state, we don't have open primaries. I choose to register with a party to vote in the primaries, and then I register back as an independent. Some people, like Kia, just stay as a Democrat because she doesn't agree with the Republican Party at all and wouldn't vote for one. So she chooses to stay, and that's fine. You can do that too.
Not only that, I for me and my brain and for anybody, like the way my brain works, I would not remember to go back and switch back and forth, and I just don't want to have to put that extra thought on myself like, oh shit, I forgot to switch. So I just stick what it is. Because at the end of the day, whatever, whether it's an R, a D, an I, or whatever next to your name, that only talks about how you vote. That has nothing to say about anything else.
Yeah, Kia, some states, I know my state also has a quote closed primary only open to members of the Democratic or Republican Party. However, and I think Mike said North Carolina is the same way. You don't have to make a separate move to change. You can just show up on voting day and just request either primary, no matter how you're registered. I think Mike said that was the same for North Carolina. Am I correct in that, Mike? Or do you have to make a separate? Because I know that's the way it is in New Jersey now. You can just show up on election day and say, "Give me a Republican or give me a Democratic ballot, please."
Yeah, but then you have to remember to re-register as an independent after it. By voting, you automatically become part of that party.
Yeah, but you can just show up on election day
Yes.
and pick either
Yes.
primary.
Why do we have to do it? Because we've got a bad system. And unfortunately, the only way we're going to fix it is if we put people in office that are willing to change the system.
I'll give you the logic behind a closed primary system, which I also disagree with, but I'll give you the logic behind it. Let's say you have an incumbent in District X, we'll call it District X, and the incumbent's going to win easily, okay? And you support that incumbent. What you want to do then is go vote. If you're going to be a little bit nasty about it, go vote for the least qualified opponent, and you get all your, let's say, Republican friends to go with you and pick out the Democrat who will be sure to lose in that district, and you all go vote for him or her. And that way you can sort of rig the primary. That's the real reason why you have closed primaries, to keep people from sort of rigging one side or the other. Have the other side all say, well, we know our guy's going to win our primary. He doesn't need our vote. Let's all go vote for the worst possible candidate, the Socialist, Communist, Workers' Party candidate or whatever have you. And that way you prevent mischief. That's the theory behind it, at least. I don't know if there's any empirical evidence that actually works. I doubt that there is. But that's the theory behind having a closed primary, to prevent mischief.
Trucking guy, who said the system was okay under Obama? I haven't heard anybody here say that. In the sense of there were protests. But if we're talking about how is it different, they gave due process. But that doesn't mean everyone thought it was okay.
Why is it that Obama's name keeps why in order to defend the bullshit that's happening now do you have to go back and talk about Obama?
You already know the answer to that, Kia, because they can't defend the indefensible, so they have to grasp at straws.
Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
They simply can't defend what happened. They saw the videos of Minneapolis. They can't defend it. So they grasp at straws and start coming up with nonsensical arguments. I'm surprised the brown suit hasn't come up. I'm surprised they're not yelling Benghazi, Benghazi, tarmac, tarmac. You know, Hunter's laptop. You know, they've got their little code words that they use because the one thing they can't say is defend anything this guy's done.
Yeah.
Grocery prices haven't gone down. Utility prices haven't gone down. They've opened up their health insurance bills and had a heart attack. They can't defend anything this guy's done because they know that he's the first candidate ever to rob from the poor and give to the rich with tax cuts for billionaires. That's about the only thing he's accomplished. And they can't defend it. So let's talk about brown suits. Let's talk about, Obama did that. Yeah, with due process. And by the way, a lot of people didn't like what Obama did and said so at the time, but he also gave them due process. He didn't unleash a bunch of jackbooted thugs into America's city streets. He didn't do that. They can't defend what they're seeing with their own eyes. So that's why they do it.
We had a question for you from the other side. Phil asked to ask you about the convention. Could you ask Scott about what the Convention of States is and if it's a good or bad thing? Please explain like I'm 5, LOL.
The Convention of States?
I think they must mean a constitutional convention. I think
Oh,
a lot of
Philip-
people are calling it a convention of states.
Okay, gotcha. Well, the states have a right under our Constitution anytime they feel like to call for a constitutional convention. What is it? 2/3 of the states have to call for a convention, and then 3/4 of the states have to agree with whatever the convention decides. As a practical matter, that's going to be extraordinarily difficult. Don't forget, in this country right now, I think you have 26 states controlled by Republican legislatures and 24 by Democrat. It's something like that. So it's going to be awfully hard to get the 2/3 requisite. And you can also call for a constitutional convention through Congress and also then ratified by the states. So either way, it's going to be awful hard to call a constitutional convention. The pros of it are there are a lot of changes that we should be making. We've talked about this a million times, that the founders said we should call a constitutional convention roughly every 20 years. They understood that with each generation, there would be new challenges that the country would have, and they fully understood that 100 years from the time they were making the document, the country would be unrecognizable from the country that they were founding. They understood that, and they expected us to do that. We didn't. We should have, but we didn't. We've amended the Constitution a number of times, but we've never called a constitutional convention. What's the negative to it? It's a big one, and it is a risk. And the negative is, once you call that convention, you cannot proscribe what that convention can decide. They can keep some of the Constitution that we have, none of the Constitution that we have. You can't just call a Constitution and say, hey, let's get some clarity on the Second Amendment. No. Once you call that constitutional convention, they can go into any way they want to go. They can discuss any issue they want to discuss, and they can pass any articles of that Constitution that they want to, even some that we've never even thought of. So it's a bit of a wild card if you do it.
But it would
And
still
that's why a lot
require
of people are afraid of it.
It would still require 3/4 of the states to ratify anything that they did there, just like anything else.
We think so, but that's an open question, Mike, and I'll tell you why it's an open question. Don't forget, with the new constitutional convention, that convention could decide that only 51% of the states have to ratify. Because remember, when you call a new constitutional convention, they can throw out the old constitutional
That's true.
Convention.
That's true.
However, I still think that the courts would rule that yes, they can draw up any constitution they want. However, and yes, they can get the 50%, let's say, for adopting new rules, but that is proactive. In other words, their new rules still have to be approved by 3/4 of the states. So we don't know. It's never happened. It's never been challenged, but there's constitutional scholars are pretty split on that as to whether they could pass a new rule saying the 3/4 rule is out, the new rule is 2/3. Well, the new rule going forward may be 2/3, but the courts may hold that since you are making a change to the Constitution and the old Constitution is in effect in terms of getting 3/4 of the people to agree to it. And then from then on, you can adopt the 2/3 rule. So who knows how the courts would rule on that?
Will states break away from the federal government? If they do, it will cause a civil war. That's how the Civil War started.
Phil said he said that I recently saw that Kansas has joined in, so it got him curious. That's what made him ask.
Yeah, I mean, there are more people now, not just Mike or me or other people on here. There's more constitutional scholars saying it's about time that maybe this is what the answer is.
Yeah. I mean, again, this administration, and I've seen a couple people talk about it. This administration has more than any other shown where our Constitution, where our laws are lacking in this current society. Does that mean that things will happen the way we want them to? It definitely, again, as Scott said, it opens the door for potentially not. But something needs to change, and it may need to be drastic. And the reality is our Constitution was written 250 years ago and hasn't been even amended in a long time. And regardless of what you wish, the world, this country is different than it was back then. And trying to run a society based on the ways it was 250 years ago is not reality.
As to the question as to whether states can secede from the Union, that was a very hot topic in the 1840s, 1850s, leading up to the Civil War, with the leading scholar and Senator John C. Calhoun saying that any association voluntarily entered into can be voluntarily dissolved. Abraham Lincoln disagreed with that analysis, and it was decided on the field of battle in the Civil War. It's generally considered now to be off the table, that once in the Union, you're in the Union and you cannot voluntarily leave it. So there's nothing in the Constitution that says one way or the other, but it's been interpreted to be inviolate and inviolate. You cannot leave the Union.
I think we're headed for martial law. No. I think there are red flags that this administration might try and do something stupid, but martial law as a whole, as a country, would be near impossible for them to actually enact. I think you would get so much pushback from so many states. I don't think it would be plausible. I think if he attempted to, you would see something else happen. I also think it would be challenged in court in some way. Not that that would stop him from doing anything again. These are all, here's the problem, is these are all unknowns. This administration is a living unknown, which is why it's fearful for everyone, and I completely understand. I don't think Whether or not it should have happened earlier, I think you're starting to see the breakdown of this administration and what they're trying to do. You're seeing people waking up in a way that they weren't a month ago.
I have a couple of thoughts on this. I completely agree with Mike. We're talking about the unknown, and the unknown with a very unpredictable president and a very unpredictable administration. I'm a little bit more worried about the Insurrection Act than I am the implication of imposition of martial law. The second thing that we have to remember is that Donald Trump is a president with about a 36 to 40% approval rating, depending on what poll you look at, and dropping, literally dropping quickly. And all these statistics are in before the events of Minnesota, which are not going to help his approval rating. Secondly, Donald Trump is as susceptible as every other president in American history. As a second-term president enters his last 2 years after the midterms, he is the lamest of lame ducks. That goes for popular presidents like Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, Dwight D. Eisenhower. That goes for unpopular presidents. He is going to have significantly less power than we right now imagine him to have as he enters the last 2 years. In fact, I would argue he has less power today than he did a month ago. You are starting to see cracks in the Republican firmament, and after the midterms, they have no more reason to get the Republicans in Congress to kowtow to him. I'm not predicting a full-scale revolt against Donald Trump. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is he will become the lamest of lame ducks, and that's especially since unless something very strange happens, the Democrats will at the very least take the House of Representatives and take it easily. So this guy's no 800-pound gorilla. He isn't.
Clara, just so you know, California and Texas both have had those conversations for decades of seceding from the United States. Both states have had those conversations. It's one thing to have the conversations. I don't think it will happen.
Scott, Danielle on the other side asked, Scott, what's the difference between Insurrection Act, martial law, and what's already happening in places like Minnesota and LA? Minnesota is completely shut down right now. They're not taking kids to school. They have to have food drives because people can't leave their homes, etc.
Well, you're seeing what would happen writ small, meaning Minneapolis, and writ large over 50 states that martial law would have. The Insurrection Act can be effectuated in two different ways. One, the governor, and this is the way it almost always happens, is that the governor or state legislature of a state requests federal help. What Donald Trump is proposing is to go in anyway, even if they don't want him to do it. I don't recall any instance in American history where that has occurred. It is allowed under the Insurrection Act, but it would be reviewable by Congress. Martial law, my understanding of it would be that would be literally obviating the governance of a state and would be a far more serious imposition. And as Mike indicated, that would be challenged almost immediately in court. And I don't see any way that the president would get away with declaring martial law. I don't see it. I don't see how he could do it. I think the Insurrection Act is a little bit more on point as to what he might do, because there are methods that he could do that, even without the invitation of the governor of a state. Again, that too would be challenged in court. But the things you're seeing in Minneapolis, we'd see that writ large. We would see a terrified, cowed American populace, maybe over an entire state, maybe over an entire region. That's almost unthinkable. But are the warnings? Do I think that's going to happen? No, but the warning signs are there. I mean, you'd be foolish not to think about it.
I think with especially now, if anybody has learned anything, if not the first time he was who he was, if not this time now, it's like all the things that we used to think, none of that stuff is like true. Everything is up in the air. Everything is so different now. And that's one of the things. And he's such a small, spiteful man. It's just, get off my plants. Sorry. Get.
I'm sorry. Was there a ICE trying to go into somebody's consulate? I missed that news story. If that's true, who asked the question? Could you backtrack, Kia, and tell me who asked that question?
Which one?
About. Hang on. God damn it! I'm so fucking shitty at doing this shit.
The consulate question is over here by Boston Runner. Do you
Well,
think there will
it's
be
also
any?
here on TikTok. It says.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Do you think there will be any repercussions for ICE trying to break into a consulate? I'm not aware of where ICE tried to break into a consulate. I'm sorry. I must have missed that news story.
Yeah,
Boston.
they tried to enter the Ecuadorian consulate yesterday.
Well, that's a violation of international law. That's Ecuadorian property.
Yep. And
They have no. If you're asking if ICE has any authority to break into the Ecuadorian consulate, the answer is no. No, that'd be the same as breaking into somebody's embassy.
And the Ecuadorian government sent a letter to the embassy in Ecuador telling him to stay out. That's all that's happened so far. And that's all that will happen unless they try again. The repercussions were a letter. They're not going to do more at this moment.
Yeah, the repercussions would be a diplomatic incident. That would, which, by the way, I don't say that lightly. A diplomatic incident can be very far-reaching. That would be unthinkable to me. That's, look at the Iranian hostage crisis. That's precisely what they did. They broke into the American embassy in Tehran. I mean, that's another Greenland out of cloud cuckoo land type of thing, of taking Greenland, breaking into people's embassies. That's cloud cuckoo land. That's nuts.
Hey, Books.
Boy, I think I keep up on the news. I missed that story completely. I didn't see that.
I mean, Scott, there's not but only 1,000 different stories that come out a freaking day. So, I mean, if you missed one out of the 1,000, I think you're doing pretty damn good.
No, Poop Man, why don't you tell us who sounds nuts? By the way, appropriate name you have.
Good morning.
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 Did we get a chance to talk about the ICE agent who had a seizure?
You mean the one that was rescued by two people that were being detained?
Yes.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it today, but I saw the story on it.
Yes. So just about the incompetence. And this is, I think this is a big story because for them to not know what to do in an emergency, and you had to have the two people that you were detaining be uncuffed to help you through an emergency. I mean, wow. Incompetence at every level.
Bonnie, they tackled him immediately after he sprayed whatever he sprayed on Representative Omar.
Discarded wife. I have no idea why ICE will be going to Italy for the Olympics. That is another cloud cuckoo land thing. I can assure you they have no authority in the country of Italy. None. Zero. Zilch. Nothing.
At this point, I can't even imagine that it's actually even going to happen because it's such an uproar with the Italian people. I mean, you can't even believe half of what this Trump administration is saying, because is it going to happen? I don't know.
Oh, somebody in chat says that Italy is mad about it. I think they're a lot more than mad. I think they're enraged by it.
The mayor of Milan was like, stay out. We don't want you here.
But to answer the question, ICE would have no authority in the country of Italy. No, like zero.
Yeah, and at this point, what is the purpose of them being there? Because it seems highly questionable what their duties are supposed to be even at this point, because that's something that the KGB would have done. And it was not to do with immigrants. It had to do with controlling the athletes that you sent from your own country.
I'd just like to know who comes up with these ideas in the Trump administration. I think we'll send ICE to Italy.
Miller, probably.
I think we're going to take Greenland. They're a NATO ally. Well, we don't need NATO. Who comes up with these ideas?
Stephen Miller. If you look at the way he's talking, you can tell that every single one of these ideas is his.
Along with Pam Bondi, I would advise Stephen Miller also at the end of his service in the Trump administration to hire himself the best criminal defense attorney he can find.
Noem claimed that when Alex Reddy was fired upon, medics were on the scene immediately. Oh yeah, I mean, that's why Noem, that's one of the multiple reasons Noem needs to be impeached and gotten rid of. I have never seen more blatant lies in my entire life by an administration, except for the man in charge.
Boston asks, Scott, do you think that Noem will be let go? Yes. Donald Trump is not loyal to anyone. He has gone from plus 12 on immigration to negative 17. That is a 29-point drop. And that's on one of the good polls. He's in the negatives by 22, 23 in other polls. So he's had a 29-point drop on the immigration issue, which was the only issue that he was in the black on, so to speak, in positive territory. That was the only issue he was in positive territory. Now he's as negative on that issue as he is everything else. Oh, except for the economy. He's down 30 on that. So good luck in the midterms, Republicans. It's going to be a beautiful time for you.
So here's the thing to remember on the impeachment side of things. In order to get the impeachment, two things are necessary. Someone has to bring the articles forth, which anyone can do that. But in order to get it voted on, Mike Johnson has to allow it, or there needs to be a discharge petition, which would require a lot more people to get it to pass. So we'll have to see.
No, you only need 218 votes for a discharge petition.
Yeah, but to pass it after, you need like 3/4 or something like that, right?
No. Impeachment is just a majority vote in the House, but it's 2/3 in the Senate.
I thought it had to be more because of because discharge petition goes against the normal rules or something stupid like that.
You might be right on that, but I think impeachment is constitutional, and on that may do with their own House rules, but a House rule cannot supersede the Constitution.
Gotcha.
And impeachment is covered by the Constitution, so it would be, I think, a majority vote in the House. But look, it takes 2/3 in the Senate, and I don't see the 2/3 in the Senate right now. Long before that, Donald Trump is going to throw somebody under the bus. He always does. When he loses popularity, he doesn't blame himself. He blames his underlings. Take a look at his first administration. How long did any of those cabinet ministers last? They all got bounced. And the same thing is going to happen here, folks. There's going to be blood in the water soon enough. And one of the first to go is going to be Kristi Noem. I doubt if she makes it to the midterms, she's certainly going to get bounced after the Republicans lose the midterms because she's going to be the fall guy.
I don't even foresee it getting as far as impeachment because they would step down probably before that embarrassment happened.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
Trump would make her leave before that would end up happening.
And I think this is a good point to bring up. This is why also Republicans have been trying to break unions for so long, because unions still do hold a certain amount of power. And both the union that represents government employees and I'm sure the unions that represent nurses are calling for Noem to be gone. And they are not happy with how this administration has been running things.
I think not happy is an understatement.
Very much so.
I think he's going to release Noem right before the midterms. I don't think she's going to be able to stick around that long. That's too long. We're talking what? 9 months?
Yeah, I mean,
I
this happens like a snowball pretty quickly, usually.
I tend to agree with you. I don't think she's long for this administration. You're seeing his polling numbers drop almost each and every poll. He goes down another couple of points. He's obviously aware of it because he's not even bothering to call them fake news polls anymore. He's just saying the people don't understand. Okay, it's our fault that you're unpopular. Okay. Yeah, look, when Donald Trump loses ground, people walk the plank. And who's going to walk the plank? Well, I can't think of any better candidate, two candidates really. I think Bondi and Noem are not long for this administration, both of them.
And I hope you're right.
This is only 1 year in, too. I can't even imagine another 3 years where Patel and a couple of these other people survive. They're just out. Their incompetence has been outshadowed by the worst incompetence of others in the spotlight.
I couldn't agree with you more. And again, you look at the personality of Donald Trump. There's only one person he would never blame for any of his troubles, and that's himself. And he will make others pay. He has no loyalty towards anyone. He never has. In his business career, in his personal life, and in his political career, he has never shown one iota of loyalty towards anyone. Not a single person. None. Zero. They were chanting, "Hang Mike Pence," for Christ's sake. He's shown no loyalty towards any individual at all. Not one.
Their replacement would probably be worse. I disagree. At most, I could see their replacement being as bad, but we still need to start holding people accountable. Part of the problem is we don't hold people accountable for their choices. And who their replacement might be, in my mind, at this point, does not matter in comparison to starting to hold our politicians accountable. What do I think of Human? He's a horrible human being, but he won't run ICE in Minnesota the way that what's his face has been. He's still not good though.
They know what is coming, and the sad thing is that I think we all knew what was going to happen. We knew that it was going to get bad. We knew people were going to lose their lives over this, and we knew that once they did, Trump was going to start throwing people under the bus and to try to save himself. I mean, this is all stuff that the sad thing is we knew was going to happen.
Yeah, is Bondi at risk of impeachment? Not right now, but the future is the future, and who knows? But folks, you have to remember, I know we all love, myself included, to throw around the word impeachment. Here's the one thing you have to bear in mind. Takes 2/3 of the Senate, 67, more than 2/3. Takes 67 votes in the Senate. And right now, the Democrats hold 47 seats. So it's not on the table if Trump doesn't want it. But I think what Books is talking about, what Mike's talking about, and what Kia and myself have been talking about, this guy is a narcissist. He has no loyalty towards anyone. People will walk the plank to pay for his sins. He won't pay for them, but the people around him will.
And again, I've said this before. We are going to see massive change because of this. When will it happen? I don't know. There's a lot of things that have to all fall in line for the change that I see happening to happen. But a lot of cracks, hell, a lot of craters have been shown in our society, in our constitution, in our laws, and just how we do things in general. And I think you're going to see a push towards the fixing of that. But it's going to take work by a lot of people, again, which is why I am interviewing as many progressives as possible that want actual change. And what they need is visibility. What they need is name recognition. Part of the reason, most of the reason that these people that actually want stuff. All right, Books, thank you for coming up. Part of the reason that these people that actually want to do things to make life better don't get through the primaries is because they choose not to take PAC money. They choose not to take corporate money. They choose to do grassroots. And the only way that they're going to get the kind of name recognition as the ones that are status quo, that are willing to take money from everywhere, is if they get name recognition another way, which is visibility. As far as you know they have to report the money they take in. Even PACs, when they advertise under a certain, like, for a certain thing. Like, again, if your statement is as far as you know on everyone, then what's the point of society at all? Like, that's what you sound like. Do you think they're going to tell everybody exactly how much they bring in? Yes. Yes, I do.
Boston asked me, do you think there will be a government shutdown over DHS funding? Short answer is yes. Long answer is I wouldn't be surprised. I think we're already starting to see cracks at the administration at hinting at a compromise that would be acceptable to the Democrats. So I hate to give you this answer, but I think the accurate answer is we'll see. The Democrats are going to demand real accountability for ICE. Will Trump be willing to do that? He sort of is showing some kind of cracks in the firmament, and perhaps he will. We'll find out in a very short period of time.
Jones, I don't know who you think I'm talking about, but I think you're talking about different people than I'm talking about. Do you think there will be a big change like there was after J6? I think there will be a big change like after the Great Depression. I think we're talking a Great Depression style shift.
I don't know the answer to this. Somebody asked a really good question. Do candidates have to give a complete accounting of their stocks? I know they do once they're in office, but it's only within parameters, 0 to 250,000, 250,000 to $1 million. They have to give it within parameters. I honestly don't know if candidates have to do that. Mike, do you know the answer to that question?
I don't know off the top of my head, no.
Yeah. Kia, have you heard anything about that issue?
No, but hang on, I'll be the Googler.
Yeah, do candidates have to disclose stock holdings?
Okay.
I'll bet you it's a state-by-state issue. I'll bet you there is no federal law on that.
Do candidates have to what?
Disclose their stock holdings.
Morning, Candace.
Federal candidates and elected officials, president, vice president, senate, and house must publicly disclose their stock holdings, assets, and transactions over $1,000 via annual financial reports. The Stock Act requires these disclosures to prevent insider trading, with reports filed through the House Committee on Ethics or the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Ethics.
So after they're in
Oh.
office.
Yeah, that implies after they're in office, and that's what I thought it was. Either way, if you're a candidate,
It says candidates and elected officials, but
Well,
the
I
other part I didn't finish reading
go ahead.
was where it says what to disclose: assets, income, and transactions, stocks, bonds, and securities worth more than $1,000 at the end of the year or generating over $200 in income. Time frame: the initial reports are due upon entering the race. Annual reports are due by May 15. Transaction reports: lawmakers must disclose trades over $1,000 within 30 to 45 days, and the scope includes assets held by spouses and dependent children. Failure to comply with the stock stock act can result in fines. And now I'm done.
And Wheeler, ICE has not been around for 30 years. It's been around for 22 years. And there have been a lot of people for many, many years now that have been calling for ICE to go away, the actual organization ICE to go away and have it go back under what it was under before. So no, it's not new. It may be new to you, but it's not new to this country.
Yeah, based upon what Kia said, I assume that means once you have the Democratic or Republican nomination, you would fall under that. If you're a mere candidate in a primary, probably not. But if you get the nomination, you're going to have to disclose, or you're going to have to drop out.
But again, if there are people that are running that are specifically, blatantly right out there saying, I want to be held accountable. I work for you. This is the stuff that I'm fighting for. They're not sitting here saying, I'm just going to make you rich. They're part of the community. They're not people that just moved in. They're not millionaires and billionaires. They're people that just work 40 hours a week like all of us do. That want to make this country better. They don't want to. They all say what you want to hear. No, they all don't. The ones that get in office do, because most people don't vote in primaries. Most people don't, too many don't vote in general elections. So the people that actually want to do things right, that are doing things right, don't get the visibility, don't get the name recognition. And since only 20 to 25% of the country even vote in primaries, we get those choices. And those people vote for the names that they know. And the names that they know are the ones with the money. And the ones with the money are the ones that send out flyers and send out all this stuff that people that are willing to take PAC money get. So no, the problem is us. The problem is not all politicians or with the letter in front of their name. No, most people do. God. Jones, I understand you're angry. There's a lot of us that are angry. But if you're just going to sit here and be all doom and gloom on everything we're talking about, please go find somewhere else to talk. Because we're about actually having solutions, not saying it's hopeless, forget it, I don't want anything. Like nothing's going to work. Why bother? That's all you're saying. That doesn't work here. Sometimes all of us feel doom and gloom. Most people vote for R or the D. No, actually, most people don't. Most people vote for the names they recognize and based off of what they're experiencing at the time. And most people, depending on if you're talking primaries or general election, don't vote at all. So saying that most people do anything in the primaries is a flat out lie. Most people don't vote in the primaries.
Jones, you would be shocked and disappointed to find out how important name recognition is in a primary election. It's everything.
And Scott, I looked it up. It said that I added when do candidates have to disclose, and it says that federal candidates must disclose stock holdings and assets within 30 days of announcing their candidacy, or by May 15th of that year, whichever is later, and then annually thereafter.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
In the end, we as a country have been, yeah, if you see a name plastered all over the place, your chance of voting them are higher. Yeah. Because people don't actually pay attention who's running and they don't vote in the primaries at all. Again, every one of these choices, when you say, I hate the choices, 20 to 25% of the country are giving you those choices. 20 to 25. That is why I am interviewing people that want to actually fix things, to try and get their name out. But in the end, the way we get the name out is by you guys watching the videos and sharing it. We make those videos get everywhere. That's how they have name recognition. And honestly, if none of you watch my videos and you watch the people's videos, their own videos of the people I interview, you being an independent, do you interview conservatives? I interview people that want real change, that believe that all people, no matter your race, religion, gender, or identity, deserve rights, respect, dignity, and safety. You agree with that? You agree with those statements? I will interview you. Do I believe any conservatives would agree with those? No. Not now, at least. At least anyone who's willing to consider themselves a conservative at this point. But I do not raise the voices of people that do not align with my fundamentals at minimum.
And I would not think that conservatism, especially in the way it is standing right now, aligns with our foundational beliefs.
Steve Brooks, grow up. And if I was getting paid by Soros, that would be sick. That's what people don't get. Like, you think I would be doing 17 interviews in 5 days if I was getting Soros money?
Not only that, Mike, with Soros paying all of us, he's going to run out of money real soon.
Well, that
I mean,
too.
he's apparently paying off about 80 million Americans.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, right, Heidi? He's paying all the protesters, too. I forgot. Soros,
That's
all
right.
the
He's paying all the
protesters are paid.
protesters.
Man, he's getting stretched awful thin. He's rich, but he's not that rich.
Why am I working 60 hours a week? Yeah, I haven't gotten my check. Seriously. Like,
Yeah, I'm waiting for my Soros check. I'm waiting for my Doge check.
tariff check.
There's my tariff check. There's a lot of checks I've been waiting for, and they haven't arrived yet.
Person that actually did get paid by Soros is Scott Bessent. Yeah, Scott Bessent did get paid by Soros. It's true. Which no one seems to realize.
I've seen Ambrosia. I'm sorry. I did not realize. I did not realize when Jador fell asleep on the keyboard, he'd actually paused the other side. But Ambrosia had asked, sorry, Ambrosia had asked, do all states send voter info through the mail?
I'm sorry, voter info?
I don't.
Or
Yeah.
do you mean ballots?
I'm not sure. That's exactly what.
Well,
Could you?
that's a state by state thing. There's some states that do nothing but vote by ballot. They don't have polling places, and I believe all states have an option to vote by mail, but there's different restrictions on how you can do it. That's a state by state thing. You'd have to look up each individual state, which I must admit I have not done. There's certain states that have a tradition of more voting by mail than they do voting in person. Whereas the Northeast, for instance, we're still sort of old fashioned. More people prefer to vote on election day than prefer to mail in a ballot, although that is changing. There are other states, I mean, for instance, Florida used to have a very robust vote by mail operation, Arizona as well. And what is it, Oregon or is it Washington, Mike, that's completely vote by mail?
Oregon.
I forget. Oregon. Yeah. So it's different state by state. There's no set rule. And again, this brings up an important point. The states control the voting in this country. So the states set the rules. That's per the Constitution.
By the way, I just want to say this quick. I've seen a couple of people that say they're running for office. If you're running for office and everything I said vibes with you, and if you watch the video on TikTok and you are one of those people, reach out to either Rosa, who's in the chat, or Ash. I don't know if Ash is in the chat. That's another way to do it, if not joining the Discord. And we'd love to do an interview.
Ambrosia clarified. She said, I'm asking if other states send out a book of each candidate's platforms like we do, not vote by mail. And I didn't want to assume, but I assumed. I will tell you, in North Carolina, like where I live, I got a book about the judges that were running, but I did not get a book about the other candidates running.
You'll see in a lot of states, you may see the parties in those states sending stuff out about people running on, in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. There are some states that do everybody that's running, but not all states. Most states don't.
Yeah, I know I've never gotten that, although I have gotten it from the political parties themselves, Mike. And I'm in New Jersey. Wings asks, do you get questioned? Should you still be registered to vote? I did. That brings up an important point, and I'm glad you raised that. Thank you. Everybody, please take the time long before the elections just to make sure you're still registered. You probably are, but they do voter purges every now and again. You may have been inadvertently unregistered to vote. So it's incumbent, and that's on you, the voter. Nobody's going to do it for you. Just to call your town hall or call your county seat and make sure that you are still registered to vote. Please do that. That's a very important point. Thanks for bringing it up in chat.
And I do want to point it out because it's really important. New Jersey's 11th district. If you or anyone you know is part of that district, early voting starts tomorrow for the special election primary, for the special election for Mikey Sherrill's seat that she vacated when she became the governor. If you are not a part of that, please check out. There's a lot of candidates running, especially on the Democratic ticket. And some are really good. I interviewed one who's running, and there are multiple others that are really good that are running. If you or anyone you know is in that district, please. I know Anna, the one that I interviewed, is doing like a get out and vote, like music festival. She actually told me to everyone in New Jersey who wants to go, they just want it to be a kind of a party for people. So
Yeah, and I'll second that emotion. Being from New Jersey, for those of you who are not familiar, if you do live in the 11th district, it is a very close, competitive district. You often hear people say, "My vote doesn't count." Well, everybody's vote counts, but everybody's vote really counts in the 11th district in New Jersey. It is a tight, neck and neck district. Please make sure if you're in the 11th in New Jersey that you vote.
Trucker, I can only take so much of those committee hearings, and I don't really want to see Rubio and his bullshit about Venezuela. There's enough other stuff going on than to see him lie about things and the Republicans lie about things and the Democrats probably lie or at least twist some things too, just to all get gotchas. I'm just done with seeing gotchas and the bullshit.
I will say too, also, like where I am in North Carolina, like I said, we get a booklet of just the judges, and it tells you, you know, their experience, what they're running for, what they stand for, or whatever. But you can go online quite often and find a sample ballot for your area. You can print it out, and then that way you can go through. Or like even when I was looking at it, especially like because some of the judges just said what they stood for, or what have you, but in North Carolina, they're also a political thing for the judges. And I went to, they had links to check like their book of face, and like one of the judges like was had all of this orange propaganda and orange like promoting stuff, and I was like, yep, I'm not voting for him. So you can do your own research too once everything gets set. But I think one of the things, talking about the primaries, so much focus is put on the actual like elections. The primaries are just not talked about enough. I think if people truly understood the importance of the primaries, they wouldn't be able to bitch so much about just the people we get to select. If you're not part of the solution of actively picking who we get to vote for, you don't get to bitch, just like people who don't vote at all don't get to bitch. Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean the primaries, you usually have a number of candidates running, and you'll usually find someone who matches up with your particular interests in the issues and what you consider to be priorities. So that's how you end up with a candidate that you want to vote for in November, is by voting for them in the primaries. I mean, that's very, very, very important.
Yep. And again, just so everyone's aware, and this is one of the reasons that I say, if you, whether you follow me on TikTok, please also follow on the tube. And if you have Discord and you use it, please also follow there. All of these interviews I'm doing, I'm in the process of building a website that will be available, that will have all of the interviews that I am doing organized by state. So if you are looking, if you want to easily find who's running in your district at the time, depending on whether we're past midterm or primaries or not, it will be a place where you can look for more info on who's running. But there's also plenty of other places. There's vote.org. There's what is it? Vote like a beast or something like that. That some do. That the YouTube channel Good Mythical Morning puts out, that you can find information on everyone who's running. Save Act have any effect on voting? Don't think the Save Act will get through anywhere. There's too much. I don't think the Save Act would make it through a constitutional, through the Constitution.
I think I saw the name of one of the other sites. used Ballotpedia that Ash put in there. That's what I actually used, and actually used that to help my sister vote because she moved into an area and she didn't really know anything about any of the people running in her area. So I have showed her how to print out her sample ballot and all of those kind of things. So even if that's like a good way to help people, like help them print out the ballot or find where they can get the information. And just remember, it varies so much state by state. So just because they do something where you live does not mean that they're going to do something where somebody else lives.
Yeah.
So just general information on where they can find the ballots and stuff like that is really really important.
Kelly, so we've talked about it here and there. And actually I'm going to be talking with a friend of the channel next week a little bit more about that ish as well as some other things, but we can talk about a tiny bit here. What everyone's capability is going to be different. So the first thing I will say is there will be people that will tell you you must do this, you must do that. Just because they have the capability of doing something does not mean you do. There's also many different ways that you can be involved, that you can be active, that don't involve doing the same things that everyone else is doing. Yes, protesting in terms of calling your senator, calling your representatives. If you have somebody who is running that you like nearby, volunteer for them a little bit. When I tell you that especially these smaller candidates can use volunteers almost more than money, I'm serious. If you're willing and able to go knock on some doors or make some calls or help, if they do have the ability to send message, send like notes or things, help get those sent out. There's so many different ways that you can. For me, I do this all day during the week. I take the weekend off. The weekend is for me to not try and not do anything unless something major happens. But this is what I can do. I can use this platform with 100,000 people on TikTok and almost 2,000 getting closer and closer to 2,000 on YouTube and all the other social medias to help raise the voices of people that are running. That's something that I can do. That I can't get out and do a lot of the things because of our current situation in, just the reality. Heidi supports with finger exercises. Watching content. And that's why I say, watch the videos of these people that are running. They need visibility. They need name recognition, and they're not going to get it unless we help them get out there. And some of that is watching and sharing the content. So every little bit helps. And I mean that like so deeply. If you're at a point in your life where right now you don't have the mental capability to give a lot, you aren't alone. There's a lot of people that are struggling right now and can't do a lot. If you happen to be one of those people that right now has the ability to do more, then do more, because you might hit a time where you can't do a lot and then someone else will take up the slack. The real key is everyone being willing to spend the time to educate themselves and be involved when the time comes. Know when your primaries are. Research who's in the primaries and vote. That's like the huge thing right now.
Mike, on the question a few minutes ago, and I'm sorry because you had gone in, it was asked of me about the SAVE Act. Mm-hmm. I'm not too worried about that. The Senate it did pass the House, but the Senate hasn't even set a time to vote for it yet. And there's a whole lot of constitutional issues with that. that may become a problem somewhere down the road. It's not a problem right now.
Yeah, Maura. I mean, it is very difficult to get certain kind of content out, which is again why I'm doing what I do. I don't mind. Every little bit can help. So anyways, this is why it just takes a little bit. It takes a little bit of work, and it's not all of it's hard, because honestly, watching these interviews, I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for me. I am inspired by watching these people running for office. I get hope by watching these people run for office. These are good people. These are good people that love their country. The amount of veterans that are running right now, when I tell you, easily 2/3 of the people that I've interviewed, if not more, are veterans. It gives you hope. So please, 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 if you can't do other things, watch and share, whether it's my content or content of people that you see that are running. Ash, thank you for gifting 5 memberships over on the tube.
Go Ash, go Ash, go Ash.
Who's running? Connie, go over to the tube and watch the videos. There are so many people. Like I said, I'm interviewing 17 from Monday, from this recent Monday to Friday. I'm interviewing 17 people. 17. That's just this week. That's not counting who I've interviewed before and the interviews that are coming up. We're talking senators, congressmen, state senators, governors. There's so many different people that are running, and it's just amazing.
I will say too, if it's helpful at all, if you want to create a channel in my Discord just for those, I don't mind if you share it there, because I know some people in my community are not necessarily in your Discord because
Yeah.
it's a lot bigger. If you're welcome to create your whole own channel and post them there, I have no care if that would be helpful as well. Especially having people in different areas of, bye Ash, have a good day, love.
See, Ash.
The opportunity, because we have people in our community that live in Illinois,
Mhm.
and it's easier to get people to share, especially when that candidate is going to affect them personally. That's easier to get people who don't do this like we do to be more open to listening to something like that.
Yeah.
So that's an option for you if you want to. Or me or Kiva can set up the channel for you, and you could just, whatever you need to do, if that helps, you're welcome to it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Right now, my thing is, and it's possible I'm going to be getting some help doing it. The problem is just there's a lot. I mean, there are a lot of people running for office, guys. There are a lot of people running for office. Even if I only interviewed people that won their primaries, you're talking over probably close to 400 people. And that's assuming all progressives got it, but still, that's 400 people just in the House. And 100 people, well, not 100, it's like 40 something in the Senate. And then all of the state positions. So it's just going to be a lot. But and one of the candidates, actually, I was texting last night, and she said, take care of yourself. And I said, or rest and eat. And I said, I'll rest and eat when we get rid of fascism. And obviously I was sort of joking, because I do try and rest whenever I can, but just understand that this is that important. Patty, thank you so much. Holy crap. And Mission, both of you guys are awesome.
And I was just thinking about that comment that Kelly had put back ago. That's so true. Don't get so wrapped up in worrying about what other people are doing to help or not doing to help, because everybody's good at different things. Like, I straight out told my brother, he knows I support him, but doing like contacting can't that is not my strength.
Mhm.
That is not what I'm good at. What I'm good at is keeping the communities online safe while he's here. That's my part. And the fact that we've got Ash and Rosa helping with the candidates and stuff, it's like, yay, whoever, however, it can be the littlest things. The little things, every little bit counts. Every little bit you can offer, is something else that he doesn't have to do, and or is, puts towards the community and just helping it grow and build. Yeah, the helping is, I heard, like, even before I fell asleep last night, I was listening to GT and he had Carly in the box. And they're talking about how they're doing all this stuff up in Minneapolis and Minnesota and stuff, and Carly's really big on the animal side of things, and she's like, I know, she's like, I didn't want to seem callous, but what happens to these pets when people get snatched up and they have animals that are waiting at home for them, and they don't know where their person is. And if they're not able to call and say, hey, can someone go check on my animals? Luckily, I found out that there is a program that they are doing just that. They're trying to, take care of these pets that are getting left behind. And Carly was like, offering ways to set up long-term uh fostering, so while these people may be off dealing with what they're doing, knowing that this person's not going to keep their dog, they're not going to get adopted out. There's so many ways of helping in so many different levels. There's so many ways. And that's just crazy, Rosa, that it's just, oh, there's just so much. Just help whatever way you can help. And
Yep.
it looks different for everybody.
Yep. There, every business has people that are front facing, people that are behind the scenes, people that do little but important things, people that do more seemingly larger things. Like, you cannot, this whole thing is not run by one kind of person. Like I said, we've got one vehicle in this house, and my wife uses it. So I can't go out and go to a protest or a music festival. I can't do it. Not because I don't want to, not because I'm not willing to. I just can't. So I use what I can do. I do what I can do. I use a platform that I was built, just like all these. That's why GT uses his platform the way he does, which is amazing. I love seeing people use their platforms in ways that can that help, because they have that capability. But you guys, your help, any of them, like I said, whether it's signing things or like sending stuff out for people, making calls, knocking on doors, sharing content with your neighbors, talking with your neighbors if you know them, like, all of this can help. Again, people don't vote in primaries. You want to help? Let's convince more people to vote in primaries.
Yeah, that's important to note, Mike, because there's a lot of people who, for whatever reason, they're raising kids, they might be disabled, they, for whatever reason, they can't leave their house. There's a million different things you can do from your home. You don't necessarily have to be out there knocking on doors. There's a lot of different roles that you can play. You can be making phone calls from your house. You can be stuffing envelopes from your house. There's a million different things you can do.
I'm sorry to hear. I'm sorry to hear that. And you know what? Don't put yourself in danger. But if you can talk to your neighbors, do. Let's put it that way. Does that work? Aw, JG, goodbye. That's a dumb statement. There are
Yes,
many ways to be an activist. Yes.
yes, just sharing the videos, sharing videos, having conversations with those that you feel safe with. Trust me, Di, I get it. Like, my neighbors, I mean, I had one threaten to unalive my N-word son, and then I had the other one, straight up say their children were not allowed to play with mine because they're, quite darkly complected. So I totally get that. in your own community, what that ever may be, people you talk to on the phone, people you engage with on social media, have those conversations with them as well. Sister.
Can I say to keep creating and supporting the arts? It's vital to our society and it's a form of protest on its own. True. Look, I posted the video, gosh, I feel like it was a week ago. If you guys haven't watched Andor, I still suggest you do it. I think I mentioned it before, but I really would suggest it. There's actually a lot of really poignant statements that they make in it about what it means to fight against things like fascism. And there's a couple lines in there and they're like, look, just pushing back a little bit is a form of protest. Just doing one little thing is a form of protest. Because if you get millions of people doing one little thing, it becomes a really big push. You get 77 million, 100 million people doing a small little thing, it becomes a big push.
I will say, even like, if you have a music festival in your town and you're unable, if you're out and about, I have a friend, when they have a music festival, they just get in their car and they just ride through and they honk to show their support. And that's their form of being part of that. If you're able to do that, even that simple thing. I remember when we were going on vacation last year and we drove through this little town in Colorado and they had a little music festival. I mean, it could have been maybe 100 people and we just honked the horn, rolled down our windows, threw our fists up, did the little things, even that. And I saw it earlier and there's somebody on here, he says it all the time. Joy is a form of resistance. I know it's crazy. It is scary. It is all of the bad things right now. But you have to let your mind see something that makes you happy, whether it's a TV show that you watched in the 80s and the 90s, listening to some music, painting, doing some kind of crafting, looking at egg collecting videos on TikTok. Just find something.
Resistance requires hope. There has to be something you are fighting for at the end. And if everyone is just doom and gloom, then what are you actually fighting for? There has to be hope. There has to be joy. There has to be something at the end of the tunnel. There has to be. Yes, Trudy, encouraging that protesters and showing support is important too. Absolutely.
And
I'm sorry, Scott.
even if you are feeling doom and gloom, even if you are feeling hopeless, the mere act of doing something can help snap you out of it. So there's a million different reasons to get involved.
Yep.
Like right now I'm watching the Gilmore Girls. And I watch a lot of HGTV. It has absolutely nothing to do, even though it's funny watching the Gilmore Girls and hearing them talk about Bush and all of that kind of stuff. It's kind of funny because it's taking place in, 2000, 2001, 2002. But just watching something that has absolutely nothing to do, that's not going to terrify your mind. Although some people I know, horror brings them peace and they enjoy that. But something that makes you not feel anxious when you're watching it is definitely needed.
Mm-hmm. I love watching like improv and stuff. Friggin' hilarious. Just makes me laugh. Sometimes you need to do that. That is a lot of chickens. 30 chickens? Whew.
I want some. Our neighbors have chickens and I love it and then I hate it because my dog, even though the chickens have been there for a couple of months now, when the days where it's sunny enough and they open up the coop and kind of let them walk around in the yard, and my dog goes outside and he sticks his head through the little hole in the fence and he barks at them damn chickens like he's never seen them chickens. And it's the same chickens that have been there. Nine chickens.
Bye, Kelly. Thanks for
Bye,
being here.
Kelly. Have a good day.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here. I got 4 interviews today. If you're in New Hampshire or you know people in New Hampshire, I'm going to be interviewing someone who's running for Senate in New Hampshire today. I don't remember where the other people are running. I just remember that one. But next week, I'm going to be interviewing someone who was detained by ICE during their green card interview. There's just a lot of cool things. I'm going to be talking to a pastor. So one has already come up from Texas. There's another one that's going to be coming up, I think, next week, who's also running in Texas. I'm trying to get all the Texas people out that have primaries, because I know your primary is coming up soon. Same with Kentucky, I think. I forget which state has another early primary, but anyone from Florida. I've gotten some people that are coming in from Florida. There's a lot of states that I still haven't heard from anyone from. That's why I need help. If y'all know people, your primary is May in Kentucky. Okay, so it wasn't Kentucky. I forget who it was, but yeah, I got at least one or two people from Georgia. But again, I need your help more than anything. I'm basically, what we're doing now is, when I see someone, when I find a TikTok of someone who's running, and they seem to believe the same things that I do, at least in terms of fundamentals, Rosa and Ash reach out to them. So there's a lot that we're missing. I interviewed someone who is running in Philadelphia. I think that's it so far. Just one person in PA. I just interviewed someone who's running in Missouri yesterday. Anyone from Alaska? No, not yet.
There is a lot about Mary Peralta, excuse me if I butchered her last name, in Alaska. She is by far and away the only Democrat who could possibly win in that state. And I just saw a poll drop, and she has taken a lead over Sullivan, who won in a landslide last time. Now, that doesn't mean definitive at this point in the race. What it does mean is that is going to be a tight race in an R13, R14 state. And if the Democrats could take that Senate seat, that would go a long way in trying to pull off the upset of the century, which would be taking control of the Senate in a bad year for the Democrats. You know, it's a tough map for the Democrats to take the Senate, but Alaska would go a long way, and they got their candidate. She was either going to run for governor or senator. She picked senator, and that's a big win for Chuck Schumer in getting her. He put a lot of pressure on, and she's by far and away the most popular Democrat in the state. So she, not far away, she's the only Democrat who could win in Alaska. She's it. Alaska has sent a grand total, both representatives and senators, a grand total of 2 people in 40 years who were Democrats to Washington, and she's one of the 2. So she's a powerful candidate.
The list I gave you, Rosa, should have when all the primaries are.
He said no, not when. Try maybe over on the other side where you can actually put a whole thought together, and it might not get broken up over here. No, not when. I know that there's a list of when the elections are, but is there a total list of everyone for all states? Do you mean like all candidates?
Oh, like all
period?
candidates? Ballotpedia is probably the best place to find out who is running in all of them.
AVBR gerrymandering does not affect Senate races, Senate or statewide races. Gerrymandering affects House races, but not Senate races. No, the reason it's hard for the Democrats to gain a permanent majority in the Senate is the fact that every state gets 2 senators, and which means the tiny states get 2 senators, and there are more Republican tiny states than there are Democratic tiny states. So that gives the Republicans a sort of a built-in advantage in the U.S. Senate. It's not much, but it's a small advantage they have heading into every election cycle.
Okay, that was the question. A total list of everybody. So that, okay, glad we clarified that. And thanks for always breaking stuff down, Scott.
Oh, that was a good question from AV. I mean, that question comes up a lot. People just assume they hear the word gerrymandering and they assume it means the Senate or a governor's race, and gerrymandering does not affect statewide races. It only affects district races.
Oh man, there was something I was gonna bring up. Oh, they were talking about the measles down in South Carolina. Have you? It has exploded to over 800 cases.
There's
Actions have consequences, don't they? We have a nut running the Department of Health and Human Services, literally someone who I don't think could be considered sane. And gee, what a shock. Measles is back. And from what I understand, there's been a couple of cases of polio. Thought we got rid of that 50 years ago. Nope, wrong. It's back.
we're not regurgitating anything, Janine. Yeah, their measles has made it into Charlotte too.
Yeah,
That's-
as of right now, they were saying there was only like 9 or 10 cases in North Carolina, and it directly came from South Carolina. People
course it
going
did.
down there. Our states are so close, and so many people. I mean, shit. You've got people that may live on the South Carolina side but work in Charlotte. If you're close enough.
Mm-hmm.
People that same thing with people in the service. A lot of people go to Myrtle Beach for a weekend and then come back.
Yep. Been some cases
Right,
of measles
Carla?
in Alaska. That's not surprising, Emma.
It is just it is just so insane to me that this is even a thing. And like they said, they had declared it as being wiped out in what, 2000, 2002, something like that, and now here it is, 2026, and shit.
Yep.
And we better get used to it, Kia. I mean, we better get used to it. We're dismantling our healthcare system. We're firing the scientists and doctors at the CDC. We withdrew from the World Health Organization. Folks, here's what I really want. And this is especially true for any MAGA supporter in chat right now. Please give me one good reason to dismantle the CDC and to leave the World Health Organization. Is there any good reason at all to do that? We're not saving any money. In fact, it's going to cost us a lot of money. Is there any good reason to do that? We all like to think, even if we disagree with a policy, at least they have a reason for doing that, presumptively. They have some kind of reason to do that. I don't understand the reasoning of destroying FEMA. I don't understand the reasoning of wrecking the CDC. I don't understand any reasoning whatsoever to leave the World Health Organization. I don't understand why we shut down Radio Free Europe. I don't understand why we shut down Radio Liberty. I don't understand why we got rid of USAID, which, by the way, benefits greatly American farmers who part of their livelihoods is selling the food that goes to USAID. Please tell me what the good reason is to do any of that. One good reason, just one. That's all I'm looking for.
COVID broke people's brains. I think people's brains were breaking way before that.
Because when you start throwing it out there that you don't have to listen to people who do this kind of thing, who go to school, who study. You know, I don't think sometimes they make it seem as if people just pull shit out of their ass. Like, here comes some scientific discovery that somebody just thought about, they wrote it down, and here it is presented to the world. And that's not how it works. But when you actively attack education and the way it's set up, and then you attack with the information of where it comes from, it's just, you're just setting it all up to fail.
There was a time, Kia, when we valued logic, reason, and science in this country. And for very good reason. We have benefited greatly by all of those things. And now, apparently, science, education, expertise is something that is bad. Why is that bad? Is that bad because it makes certain voters feel inferior, that they don't have those attributes? But it's good for society as a whole. I mean, like you just said, we had eradicated measles. Well, diseases come back if you don't continually fight against them. History and science prove that. And here we are. This is amazing to me. This is out of cloud cuckoo land. Of all the things that have occurred, I never thought that would occur. We used to value what our top scientists told us because they were the best at what they do, and we would trust them. Now look at where we're at. Now we live in a society where, and I hate to put it this way, and I'm going to put it this way, a bunch of third grade dropouts proudly proclaim, I did my own research. Oh, you're an epidemiologist? You did your own research? You're a virologist? You did your own research?
Yeah, some
How
guy
the
on
fuck do
YouTube.
you know what you're looking at?
Some guy on YouTube told him.
Yeah. I mean, it's idiocracy.
Yep. No argument there.
It just sometimes I'm just, all I can do is just put my fingers to my temples and just rub and just think about how insane this is, and is this really real? And like, I really keep expecting to see the crypt keeper pop up out of his coffin and do his little evil laugh at the end of the episode. It is just absolutely insane. And I just keep thinking, like, we were literally told, and it was literally written, that this is what they wanted to happen. And then some. The fact that even more is happening, I'm sure, just gets them super excited. I mean, the fact that Grindr crashes quite often now, I mean, obviously they're getting excited about something. I mean, it is just,
You know, Kia, I'm a fairly well-educated person, but you know what I'm not educated in? Science and medicine. So I listen to my doctor. To me, that's common sense. I listen to someone who is trained in that profession. I listen to someone who has the expertise, the science, and the degree, frankly. I listen to them because, well, I listen to them mostly. I listen to them because they are trained. If they tell me to take this vaccine, I'm going to take it. And yes, I'm quite capable of doing my own research. And indeed I do, but only to back up what my doctor is telling me.
Here's the thing about conspiracy theories and a lot of the stuff, especially we're seeing with science these days. When people don't understand, there's two ways of dealing with, and some of this has to do with trust. There's a lack of trust in our pharmaceutical companies, which, let's be fair, they've somewhat earned. We know that our medical system is set up to make profit based on keeping us not fully healthy. So there's a lack of trust on that. But also, as things get more complicated and our brains don't have the ability to understand what's going on, we tend to look for the easiest solution. And what these people that make this stuff up do is make up bullshit and say it in such a way that these people can feel like they understand. And because they feel like they understand, they think that's common sense and it must be true, which is why they end up believing it. So
I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. I think it's literally a revolt against knowledge, and it is a revolt against education, and it is a revolt against expertise. And somehow they feel that empowers them to question people who have the professional expertise in certain matters. And it's literally the definition of an idiocracy. I think it goes even further than the fact that the pharmaceutical companies may have let us down in the past. I think it's a much deeper problem than that.
I mean, I don't think it's just the pharmaceuticals. I think there has been far too many cases where doctors have been shown to suggest things. And again, I think a majority of doctors are good. I just think we do is we hear, because of the way our media works, we only hear about the ones that are not good doctors. And now there's this assumption that all doctors are bad because of it. All this is bad because of it. It's not all bad. But this is also what happens when you take away regulation. Regulation has been taken away from all of these companies for forever. And there's a lot of other reasons. There's a lot of other problems. This isn't one thing. That's what it comes down to. None of this is just one thing. It's not this or that only. It's a whole bunch of things that are all coming together to create this problem that we're dealing with. Capitalism sure hasn't helped. That's for sure. Scott, you want to do your thing?
Sure. Well, folks, this one will be just like yesterday, a little bit briefer. We all know what to do with the orange heart. We all know to tap it, okay? And we all know the reasons why. This is a little bit more serious, folks. We've seen in the last couple of days, last 72 hours, maybe a little bit longer, some content creators on the center, left of center, being removed from this app. The new ownership of TikTok is in power now. It's no longer maybe they'll be in power. They are in power. They now own the app. We have started to see action against certain content creators. So the issue is a little bit more real than the theoretical issue that we were discussing before. So what am I getting at? If you enjoy being a part of this community, if you enjoy these conversations, if you enjoy on learning a lot more, which you have the opportunity to do if you start getting used to the tube. We've gone from it's a good idea to potentially it being the only idea. Please get ready. And the only way you can get ready, maybe nothing will happen here on TikTok. Let's hope. Okay? But things are starting to happen. We don't know. It may be imminent. It may never happen, but it may be imminent. It is incumbent upon all of us to go over to the tube and familiarize yourself with this podcast on the tube and also the content that Mike was talking about more eloquently than I ever could for most of this broadcast today about the people that he's interviewing. These are good interviews. And if your politics isn't your thing, guess what? There's a whole lot of interviews that he's done that have absolutely nothing to do with politics that you would enjoy just as much. So it's a twofer. You get to watch this. You get to speak like a real adult over there. You don't have to watch what you say. You get more characters so you can have a cogent, coherent thought. And it may become very necessary in a very short time. So bottom line, it's in your interest to go over there if you enjoy this community. And I don't think you would be here if you didn't enjoy the community, if you didn't enjoy what you're hearing. And even if what part of what you're hearing gets you angry, but you want to come here just to get angry, that's okay too. Go over to the tube and you can really lay into us over there. You get a lot more characters to do it with. So folks, seriously, go over there. Things are getting a little bit rougher every single day on TikTok. The new ownership does not appear to be a friendly ownership. So being warned is being forearmed. Please consider it, and please start spending a little bit of your time over there. And besides, the content's damn good. Mike's got a pretty good packed house over there, full of content, both political and non-political content. So there's a flavor for everybody over there, and that's important to note too. Maybe some of you really don't want to hear from candidates. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, but if you don't, I understand it. There's plenty more for you to listen to. So please give it a shot.
And as I said, thank you, Scott. And as I said, these people will give you hope. Even if they don't end up winning, they'll give you hope that there are people out there that want to do it, that want to make these changes. They're not just saying what you want to hear. It isn't like what you're used to hearing, as in, I will fix everything. They know they won't fix everything. What they are is realistic about the problems and realistic about what needs to happen in order to fix the problems, and they want to be held accountable for it. It will give you hope seeing some of these people, some of these amazing people running for office. And right now it's only been 2 a week. I think I'm going to have to increase it. I think I'm going to have to go more than 2 a week because there are that many people that are coming in. So enjoy, get some hope, and share it with people that you know, because that gives name recognition, that gives visibility. These help. Okay? This is how these people that aren't taking PAC money, that aren't taking corporate money, get visibility. So, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the gifts, and the subs over on the tube. I appreciate you all so very much for being here every single day. I'll be back tomorrow morning, and we will see what craziness happens between now and then. Either way, stay safe. You guys are amazing, just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys. Bye, YouTube. You guys rock. I'll see you tomorrow.